You want 2 cents? Fine, I want 23.
This was almost a decade ago now, back when I first got my license. I didn't have a bank account back then, so I paid for my gas in cash. A little background, my mom paid in cash a lot as I was growing up, and typically if you went over a few cents, they'd take the money out of a little container by the register. It was from people who didn't want their change when they paid. My mom traveled a lot, so that was what I grew up thinking was normal. One time I was gassing up, and the total came to $20.02. I went in, slapped a 20 on the counter, and was about to leave when this lady called out to me. "Excuse me. Yes? You didn't pay the full total. You want 2 cents? Yeah. Fine then." So I went back out to my car, and felt around in my center console for a quarter, 25 cents for my non-American readers. Quarter in hand, I walked back up to the register and said I want 23 cents back in pennies.
She glared at me, opened the register, and realized she didn't have 23 pennies. So she had to break out one of those tubes of them you get from the bank, break it, and count my change out. I made sure to tell her thank you as I left. Edit, to all the people saying some variation of pay for what you pump, I was obviously perfectly willing to pay for what I got. It was truly her attitude about the situation that got to me. I was also a teenager at the time, so I was more willing to be petty over it.
If you don't see the penny dish, assume you need to pay in full. Just my 2 cents.
As a former gas station manager, I hate you. But as an extremely petty person, I love you so much. Bravo.
This isn't malicious compliance, this is you not paying enough. There's a big difference. The user replying deleted their thread, which amounted to he should be able to pay short because corporations make too much money. No fam. I feel you, but intentionally shorting someone else's register isn't how you wage a class and wage disparity war. They'll just make the cashier accountable. Just pay what the damn total is. Sounds more like petty revenge than MC.
I am a current petrol station attendant. 99.9% I let the odd penny, UK, slide, up to as much as 10p if you're not a jerk. But if you come in with an attitude, or just slap money on the table without engaging in at least a basic thank you goodbye, then I'm going after every penny you owe.
Notice how OP didn't mention that there was a give a penny take a penny jar at this location.
Don't think this is MC, and Kaye was humoring you. She is under no obligation to give you the change in the form you want as long as she gives you the correct amount.
I don't think you get to decide what denomination your change comes in.
If it was the other way around, let's say the total was $19.98. OP paid with a 20 and the cashier took it and closed the register without giving change because they didn't have any pennies. Would OP have been expected to be okay with it? There have been plenty of times in my experience where the cashier owed me an odd number amount of change, where I got the nickels, dimes and quarters but not the pennies. Or they didn't have any pennies and expected me to eat the difference by rounding the change down to the next lowest nickel. I think there were even a couple of times where the cashier actually asked me if I wanted the pennies. Yes, I want them. Yes, it's only pennies. But they're my pennies. It's the principle of the thing. Besides, as documented by OP, if it was the other way around, and the customer was the one who was short a penny or two, they wouldn't have let it slide. I still steam about the time, many years ago when I was young and naive, when I bought 5 packs of baseball cards. They were 59 cents each. That's how long ago this was. So the total came to $2.95. The guy says, "Make it $3. We don't worry about pennies." I just handed over the $3 and didn't say anything. Unfortunately, it wasn't until later that I realized I should have said either, "Well, they're my pennies and I do worry about them," or, "That's okay. Give me a nickel." On the surface, Op was wrong to act maliciously because if the total came to $20.02, that was the total and Op shouldn't have demanded all pennies and change from the quarter.
But because of my experiences, and I suspect many of you out there can share similar ones, I can't blame Op for doing what they did.
Did they actually have the penny tray?
I mean, she probably would have let it slide if you didn't just assume it was okay not to pay what you owed. Woman shrugging, light skin tone, just my 2 cents. So the retail worker expected you to pay your bill in full? Seems like you're the jerk in this story. I work at a grocery store, gas station counter. And if I was the cashier, I'd probably be pissed that you assumed we had the spare change. Especially if you're a total stranger. We have the little penny dishes too. But usually it's common courtesy to take from it when the cashier offers it. Not expect it and leave without saying anything. You were young and it was only 2 pennies. But if there truly wasn't any change in the dish, that was just unnecessarily rude to the cashier. Are you the guy who stole a bunch of money by siphoning off the rounding errors in electronic financial transactions? Don't pump it if you're not willing to pay for it. If your pullout game is too bad, you gotta pay up. Most times, I'd let them through without those 2 cents. But if you take it as given that I will cover those 2 cents, you have to pay. And you would get your change back in cents if you were pissy about that. I also explained my reasons and most understood. Price is the price, friend. Be ready to pay it. Congratulations for making a minimum wage worker's day about $1 more frustrating due to your aggressive aggravation. Ever hear of paying full price? Yet here you are, years later, proudly reminiscing about it. Think your well-traveled mom would be proud of you as well? I went in, slapped a 20 on the counter, and was about to leave. To all the people saying some variation of, pay for what you pump. I was obviously perfectly willing to pay for what I got. So which is it? She wasn't being petty. She was MCing you because you were being a presumptuous, entitled dipstick. I think she pulled the MC on you.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.